Understanding how horses perceive the world is not just an interesting scientific pursuit. It's essential knowledge for horse owners, trainers, and enthusiasts. Horses are prey animals, and their unique vision is a result of millennia of evolution designed to help them survive in the wild. So, let's saddle up and explore the fascinating ways horses see the world. Better yet, let's look through the eyes of a creature that's always on alert. The anatomy of equine eyes, designed for survival. Did you know that horses have some of the largest eyes among all land mammals? It's true. They don't have big eyes just for those soulful glances. Their eyes are strategically positioned laterally on their heads. Imagine having eyes not for peeking at your neighbor's test paper, but for making sure no sneaky predator comes at you from behind. This unique placement allows them an almost panoramic view of their surroundings. If you were in the wild and constantly worried about being someone's lunch, you'd appreciate that design choice too. Horses' eyes are so large that they can intake a significant amount of light, making them perfectly suited for seeing in low-light conditions, such as dusk or dawn. This feature was crucial in ancient times when predators would often hunt under the cover of twilight. Evolution, in all its cleverness, made sure horses had a fighting chance, or at least a running one. Monocular versus binocular vision, a dual perspective. Now, here's where things get interesting. Horses are like multitaskers when it comes to vision. Most of their field of view is covered by monocular vision, where each eye operates independently. Picture it this way. Their left eye can be watching out for a wolf in the woods while the right eye checks if the grass they're munching is worth the calories. Pretty nifty, right? However, horses also have binocular vision, which is used for depth perception. This is why, when a horse approaches a jump or an unfamiliar object, you might notice it bobbing its head slightly. It's not grooving to some internal beat. It's trying to line up its binocular vision to get a better sense of depth. This narrow range of binocular vision, directly in front, is what helps them judge distances, albeit not as accurately as humans. Horses might not have mastered Parker, but they can still navigate uneven terrain better than most of us on a Saturday hike. The extent of their visual field, almost all-around awareness. Horses have one of the most impressive fields of vision in the animal kingdom, almost 360 degrees. This is due to their lateral eye placement, which gives them the ability to see everything from both sides simultaneously. But like all superhero powers, it comes with a limitation. Two significant blind spots. One is directly in front of their nose, which, let's face it, isn't really the place you'd expect a predator to attack. And the other is directly behind them. These blind spots explain why a horse might spook when something suddenly appears in front of them, or why approaching a horse from behind without warning could result in you getting acquainted with its hind legs in the most unfriendly way. Always approach horses from the side and make sure they know you're there. Trust me, no one wants to be on the receiving end of a startled horse's kick. Consider it their version of "who goes there?" Color perception. Seeing the world in two tones. Unlike humans, who are blessed or cursed, depending on the fashion choice. With trichromatic vision, horses are dichromatic. What does that mean? In simpler terms, they only have two types of cone cells in their retinas, allowing them to perceive blues and greens, but making reds appear as shades of gray. Imagine being colorblind to half the rainbow. Sounds limiting, but horses have adapted to work with what they've got. So, that bright red saddle blanket you thought was a bold choice. To a horse, it's just another gray blob. This limited color perception is why horse training environments often avoid red signals and instead use blue or green cues that horses can better distinguish. But hey, at least your horse will never judge you for clashing colors in your riding gear. Night vision. Navigating in the dark. Here's an advantage that will make you wish you had a horse's eyes. Their night vision. Horses possess a special reflective layer behind the retina, called the tapetum lucidum. This structure bounces light back through the retina, enhancing their vision in low-light situations. It's the same reason a cat's eyes glow in the dark. This evolutionary trait ensures that horses can keep an eye out for nighttime predators, even when they're pretending to doze off. If you've ever tried to lead a horse out to pasture under a starlit sky, you might have noticed they seem pretty confident navigating in the dark. That's the tapetum lucidum working its magic. However, their night vision isn't perfect, it's grainy, much like the view through an old black and white security camera. But still, that's more than enough to spot potential dangers or a stray carrot. Depth perception. Judging distances. Horses' depth perception is a curious thing. While they do have binocular vision that helps them gauge distances, it's not as sharp as ours. This explains why some horses approach jumps cautiously or refuse to step into a puddle that looks deeper than it really is. To them, that puddle might as well be the Mariana Trench. This cautious nature stems from their visual limitations. If you've ever ridden a horse that hesitated before a shadow on the ground, it wasn't being dramatic, it was being careful. Horses are programmed to avoid anything that could potentially trip them up or lead them into an unseen trap. Remember, in their evolutionary manual, "Better safe than sorry" is highlighted and underlined. Sensitivity to movement, detecting the slightest motion. Horses might not have eagle-like sharpness of detail, but they do excel at detecting motion. Their peripheral vision, which covers a vast range, is hypersensitive to movement. This trait was vital for survival in the wild. The slightest rustle of grass could mean a lurking predator, so horses evolved to react swiftly. Today, this sensitivity means that a horse may spook at the sight of a blowing plastic bag, mistaking it for a sneaky cougar. While this can be a nuisance during a trail ride, it's actually an incredible example of their finely tuned senses. It's also why seasoned equestrians are trained to remain calm and steady. Any sudden movement can be interpreted as a potential threat by the horse's ever-alert eyes. Blind spots, areas of vulnerability. Horses' blind spots are a crucial aspect of understanding their behavior and interactions with humans. The forward blind spot that stretches 3 to 4 feet ahead means that objects or people directly in front of their nose are not visible until they move their head or adjust their body. This limitation in vision is also why sudden movements in this area can startle them. The rear blind spot, located directly behind their tail, presents a more significant safety concern. Approaching a horse from behind without making your presence known can trigger a defensive reaction such as kicking, which is their natural response to potential threats. Horses rely heavily on their other senses, hearing, smell, and their ability to feel vibrations through the ground to compensate for these blind spots. To maintain safety and trust when interacting with a horse, approaching from the side where they can easily see you and using your voice to alert them of your presence is best practice. This mindful approach helps reduce the chance of startling the animal and promotes safer, more positive interactions. Visual acuity, clarity of vision. Horses have a unique visual system adapted for survival, giving them a panoramic field of view of about 350 degrees due to the lateral placement of their eyes. This allows them to detect predators with minimal head movement. However, their visual acuity of 20/30 to 20/60 means that details in their vision are not as crisp as those of humans, who typically have 20/20 vision. This is why, while they excel at detecting motion and changes in their environment, fine detail recognition is limited. Their vision also includes a small blind spot directly in front and behind them, which they compensate for with their excellent hearing and sense of smell. Additionally, horses have dichromatic vision, meaning they see the world in shades of blue and green, but lack the ability to distinguish red hues. This visual adaptation emphasizes movement over detail, making them adept at spotting sudden changes in their surroundings, an essential trait for prey animals in the wild. Implications for training and handling. Understanding how a horse sees can make a world of difference in training and handling practices. Trainers often use colors like blue or green for obstacles and jumps, as these are more easily distinguished by horses. They also use techniques that take advantage of a horse's sharp peripheral motion detection, ensuring they approach in a non-threatening manner. For riders and trainers, knowing the strengths and limitations of a horse's vision helps improve communication and safety. By considering their visual blind spots, color limitations, and depth perception issues, one can create an environment that supports and respects the horse's natural instincts. Thanks for exploring the world through a horse's eyes with us. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more fascinating content, and share this video to spread the love for our four-legged friends.